Well, Todd, I welcome you back to SuperChat.
Good afternoon, Gary. How are you?
Oh, just fine, sir. You know, I have a number of items to cover with you today, so I was just going to jump right into our conversation. Tell me about the construction class at Northwest High School and what they are involved in.
Gladly. And before I cough, I apologize. I have a head cold that's just kicking me. So our construction class at Northwest High School is offered through our Butler Tech program. It is full of seniors in one section that meets 2 bells a day and juniors in another section who meet 2 bells a day. And then throughout the day, they have interesting classes that tie into construction that they recruit freshmen and sophomores for. So this year, our instructor, Donnie Kelly, had a connection with the Cincinnati Home and Garden Show. Through Stone Capers, they were invited to help come down and partner and help build the props that they put in the convention center. So what happens during the Home and Garden Show is all the local dealers come in. You've got hot tubs, spas, you've got brick patios, fire pits, all kinds of places where you can hang plants, build patios in your backyard. And so our kids were given the job of taking some large pieces of poplars that looks basically out of the old days when they used to build some log cabins and some other buildings. And they made rafters, made precision cuts on them, read blueprints that were given to them from Stone Capers. They customized each piece with cuts that were described that something a second or third year construction employee, it takes them that long to learn. Our kids are already to that piece. It's very intricate, but 6 kids got the boards and the large pieces of lumber. When I talk large, I'm talking probably 25 feet long and a diameter that's 4 inches by probably 16 inches. Very heavy boards that had to be delivered and put in place. So they put all the cuts so that when they got down to the convention center, they could put it together and install it. They did this. Great learning experience for them. Great chance for our kids to partner with other professionals in the construction business. The folks around them, the adults who were there helping out, were just amazed at their ability levels. And these are kids who can probably leave high school and go right into a job immediately. So just a great opportunity for our kids.
I'll say, just what a great real-life experience for the kids, too. Wonderful, cool news. Well, Todd, let me jump onto a different track. Your high school wrestlers, bowlers, and swimmers have a pretty active schedule. Bring our listeners up to date on this.
Yeah, very excited for our state qualifiers. People go through league contests, and they have district, and they have sectionals, and they try to qualify to state. And swimming, we'll start with there, and our 2 girls from Colerain High School. They have to continually, from the beginning of the season, work on getting the best time they can in swimming. And then they'll enter the events at the end of the year, the ones they participate in league, and then go to districts and sectionals and state, and try to continue to improve on this. Well, we were lucky enough at Colerain High School to have 2 outstanding young female swimmers, Carrie Tepe and Haley Trotter. Carrie Tepe qualified in 100-meter breaststroke, and Haley Trotter qualified in 100-meter backstroke, and both got to compete at state. Did not win state, but were very successful, continued to do their best, and very proud that they qualified. So they will come to a future board meeting and get recognized. And very few get to go to state. So this was outstanding that they went that far if you look at every swimmer in the state of Ohio. For wrestling and bowling, they were this past weekend. From Northwest High School, we had Michael Carter. I believe he was the 215 weight class. Michael finished 12th in the state. Doesn't get you on the podium. The top 8 do. But to come from a high school that has about 850 students, about 425 boys, and to be competing against high schools that have 3,000 plus boys on the team, to just continue to work hard. And the great thing about Michael is Michael has worked hard to get where he is. He has been a person who struggled as a 9th and 10th grader with finding his mechanics. And then all of a sudden the light came on and it clicked. And Michael has been very dominating the last 2 years as a junior and senior. So we're very proud of Michael. Our other one is Maxwell Pearson in bowling. And Maxwell finished, I believe, 28 out of 250 bowlers in the state. He started JV bowling last year as a junior. So just in 1 year got to this level and did a great job up at state. So we had 4 state qualifiers, 2 from Northwest, 2 for Colerain. Academics are very important to us, but when you qualify to state and you get there as an individual, it's outstanding. So we're very proud of these kids.
That's great. What a wonderful experience and a memory that they have in that corner of their resume, Well, Todd, I was hoping you might provide our listeners, your stakeholders, with information they need to know regarding the Joe Bertram Annual Memorial Softball Game. What can you report on this?
Yeah, Joe was a good friend of mine. He was somebody that I had the privilege of getting to hire as an assistant principal. Joe grew up in the Northwest Local School District, went to Colerain High School. Sometimes he was referred to as Mr. Colerain High School. Just an outstanding young man that passed away this past year. And so we are trying to support Joe and his wife, Amy, and her 2 children. And so we have a softball game that's going to be played between our 2 high schools, one of the few districts that have 2 high schools in their district, Colerain High School and Northwest. It'll be on March 25th at 11 a.m. There'll be raffles, lots of ways to gain and get more money for the family. The 2 little kids need to make sure they have everything as they grow up and get their college fund started. So all proceeds will go to the Joe Bertram family. Joe was a science teacher at Northwest High School, an assistant principal at Colerain and Northwest High School. Just an outstanding person, someone who not only grew up in this community, but continued to want to give back to it. So just want to make sure everybody aware of that game, March 25th, 11 a.m. And we just think it's a chance for the community to rally around Joe and another person who has really given his entire life back to the district.
Well, there you go, people. March 25th, 11 a.m. That's your invitation. Very worthwhile event to support. Todd, one other thing I wanted to touch base with you on, the breakfast challenge involving Montford Heights Elementary School.
We always worry in education. We know how busy parents are. So you're getting kids up, you're getting them dressed, you're trying to get them out the door. You hope they have time to feed them breakfast. But we're trying to take the challenge that if the kids can't get a good, nutritious breakfast at home, what can we do here at school? It seems like work times get earlier and earlier for parents. So trying to arrange the drop off for their kids or waiting at the bus stop till they get picked up, it just brings on a different set of challenges. So we like to encourage families to take care of healthy choices. You sometimes think of a school's going to give donuts or Pop-Tarts. So that's not what we're about. We're about giving healthy choices. And so there was a National School Breakfast Week during March 6th through the 10th, and Northwest local schools, all of them participated in this. It just so happened that Channel 5 went to Montford Heights and did a small story there. Lisa Robeson, who is our supervisor of food services, tried to get everyone to understand a healthy breakfast at the start of the day is one way to ensure students are getting the best education they can. We want to get those brain cells firing. We want to get the kids alert. If a kid's sitting there with a hungry stomach, they're going to be distracted. They need the vitamins and the nutrients they get from breakfast to keep going. Daily, the district serves about 1,500 breakfast meals through a federally funded school breakfast program. School nutrition professionals in the Northwest District prepare breakfasts, lunches every day, and we must meet the federal nutrition standards. So we have to limit fat, calories, sodium, and encourage students to choose from fruits, vegetables, whole grains, everything that's offered for school meals. We see what some of the leading causes of issues for adults are, heart disease and diabetes. So we try to do our best to make sure that we are covering everything we need to do to make sure kids learn from an early age how to stay healthy and maintain a good diet. So this was a great chance for our food service program to show off.
We speak with countless schools and nationwide, really, the whole healthy eating initiative, good nutrition, is really a push at the schools, and rightfully so. I mean, it's great support for just parents being plugged into the exact same idea. Todd, you are hosting at Northwest the ACT testing coming up, I believe, on March 21st. For your high school juniors, what do they need to know for this testing event?
Yeah, Gary, I wanted to bring this up just because people are going to say, why are juniors the only people going to school on that date? And what I need folks to understand is to give this test, the ACT, this test will qualify just like a test that a parent pays for and goes nationally on a Saturday, and the kid sits from 7:30 to 1 to take an ACT or an SAT. We have to follow the same guidelines. We have to have a certain amount of space between the kids. We can only have a certain amount of students in a room. We have to have a certain amount of adults monitoring what's going on. There's little things like we have to check each of our teachers. If they have a niece or a nephew who's in Northern Ohio taking the ACT on the same day, they're not allowed to give the test. So there's just a lot of rules and regulations that we have to follow to make sure it meets the exact guidelines of somebody who's paid $80 to take an ACT on a Saturday and they show up with 2 forms of ID. So to do this, we needed to use every classroom basically in both high schools. So that's why freshmen, sophomores, and seniors will not have school on that day. The great part about it is every kid will come out of it with a certified ACT score that they can forward to any college and will be accepted. So basically just want to let the parents know that's why we're just having juniors come to school that day.
Oh, yeah, nice feature, nice offering. Well, the application deadlines related to your all-day kindergarten pilot program, it has its own details. Can you remind our listeners, your stakeholders, about those details, exactly what goes down on this?
Yeah, so we're going to conduct just 3 classes, so 1 class in 3 different schools of an all-day kindergarten pilot program. So we know this is going to be very popular with our parents. Our commitment when we passed our bond issue back 2 years ago was to move to all-day kindergarten in August 2018. What we want to do is spend a year piloting it in 3 classes to see what instructional materials we need, to see what supplies we need, and how we can best sort out the day so the kids can get a large amount of reading and math every day. Since this will be a high profile and folks will want it, and the reason we think folks will want it is if you're in an AM kindergarten class, parents have to arrange for you to be picked up at lunch and then daycare for the rest of the day when they work. This pilot will be all day, so they'll catch a bus in the morning and then they'll be brought home in the afternoon. Parents can begin to sign up for the kindergarten class. They started on March 1st. Students living in the Welch, Taylor, and Montford Heights attendance area, that is the 3 schools that will pilot 1 section. The forms must be in by 4 p.m. on May 25th, and then we'll have a lottery drawing as soon as we get back from Memorial Day weekend on May 26th. It'll be the first 24 students in each school that will get selected. So if you have 85 enroll at Welch, the first 24 is who will get in. We'll keep a waiting list in case somebody moves or drops out, but it will be a very significant change. And the best change will be in August 2018 when every kindergarten student can go from half day to full day, and just think how better well prepared they'll be for all day kindergarten and first grade when they get there.
Oh, sure. Well, Todd, I did have one other thing I wanted to include in our program today. You have a renewal coming up of your emergency operating levy. Remind listeners of the details of this.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. I'll mention this again now and then again in April, right before our levy. We have issue 10. It is an emergency renewal levy that is used for $7.3 million of funding we count on for our everyday expenses at Northwest Local School District. First of all, I'd like to say if this levy is renewed, that a $100,000 homeowner who is now currently paying $154 a year will be reduced and only have to pay $148 a year. So yes, by passing this renewal, taxes will actually go down. For this levy only, they will keep their 2.5% homestead and 10% rollback relief taxes. And what that is that's about a $20 to $25 to $30 savings for our district taxpayers because the rollback and relief and homestead taxes were added. What they now say by law is any levy that has these on it, if it's not passed, you lose both of these. So this is a big incentive also. So a lot of people are asking, well, what are we going to get? So what? We renew your $7.3 million. I love these questions because people love to hold us accountable, and they should. Some of the things this currently pays for is we don't have overly large class sizes. Currently, we're sitting at anywhere from 23 to 1, 24 to 1, 25 to 1. If this doesn't pass, we will go up to 28 to 1, 29 to 1, 30 to 1. We currently have field trips. If we don't have this $7.3 million, we will have no field trips. Curriculum adoption is currently in place for each grade level. A lot of it has to do with technology. If we don't have this $7.3 million, we will bypass curriculum adoption and slow down on adding technology. It will affect music and the art programs if we don't have the $7.3 million. It will affect our busing, our custodial and maintenance services. We'll lose good teachers and classified employees. It will affect our sports program. Nobody can afford to lose $7.3 million. We need this in order to keep things like enrichment and gifted services, our Title I reading and math specialists in place at our elementary schools, intervention programs that are offered before and after school. It's just really important that we maintain and keep this $7.3 million. Again, this was put on in 2012 because there was so much cutting by the state. We had to put an emergency operating levy back on the ballot. This is just a renewal. Instead of 5 years, it will be for 10 years. And that was changed to 10 years so that homeowners on this levy could keep their homestead and roll back tax relief. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. We're going to lose a lot, and we stand to gain a lot if it's passed. So if it doesn't pass, we will lose a lot. There's no doubt about that. But if it does pass, we can maintain a lot of good things that I mentioned and keep them in place.
Sure. Well, Todd, wow, what a whirlwind of topics today. I do appreciate you sharing all this information with listeners. Important ground we've covered today. And I want to thank you for joining me here on SuperChat.
Thanks, Gary.